I just wanna chill, baby girl, keep it real, no lies. 21 and I'm don't make no mistake, yo. I just wanna chill and vibe. 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 Baby, turn up, you know who to go, turn up. Turn up, turn up, turn up. Baby, turn up, you know who to go, turn up. Turn up, turn up. Baby, turn up, you know who to go, turn up. Turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up. Yeah. What's good, Simples? This is your boy Buddha. Over there is the lovely
baby.
Gonna be coming to you live with another rendition of Sipping.
Patience.
So, baby, how was your day?
It was a great day to be great.
A great day to be great.
Absolutely.
Well, if that's what you like to hear, we also sell the t-shirt. It's a great day to be great. I'm just saying. Putting that out there in the atmosphere.
Yeah. How was your day?
It was quite early. I had to be to work at 3:45. So that means I had to get up at almost 2:45. In order to make it to work at 3:45. Good gosh, right? But I made it.
You done well.
And I actually, hey, listen, the first sign of getting older is the nap game goes up. I got to take it. The nap game goes up. That's all I'm saying. So, baby, what you sipping on?
Since you asked. Cognac, ginger ale.
Ooh.
I've been, because I got chastised on the show for drinking my cognac straight. I decided it would behoove me to
you don't say
to chase it while I'm on the show. What you sipping on?
Well, since she went with the little yak, I said, no, I'm gonna let her do the yak by herself. But I went with a little brown rum, dark rum, with my favorite chaser, cream soda.
Cream soda.
So for 2020, I'm gonna let you know, cream soda's on the rise as a chaser. If you don't know, now you know. But you gotta mix it with the right stuff now. Don't mess up. You gotta mix it with the right stuff. But if you mix it with yak, it's always gonna be platinum.
Right?
Mix it with yak, it's gonna be platinum all the time.
That's what's up. So many know, many don't know. Right now we're obviously Zoom because this is allowing for anyone that want to actually come on and participate in tonight's episode. So tonight we have already joining us a guest. So for our guest that's joining in, what you sipping on? Can I hear you? Talk up now. Make sure the people in the bike can hear you. So tell me what you're sipping on, Kimberly.
I'm not sipping on anything. I just got the little link to. I'm not. I haven't moved. I haven't moved from this spot. I said, let me link up right quick. I didn't even think about it.
Yeah. You all right? You got time to get you some. It's not a requirement to have anything on a heavy scale, but
this is sipping
when you
in conversation.
Absolutely. For our sippers that are joining us on our actual page directly, thank you for tuning in. What's good, family? Burn her. That's what's up. You got you sipping on bubbly right now? Okay. Yeah.
Sound like some OAZ sipping on.
Wait, they say don't hate on the straight booze. That's old school.
Hey. We ain't hating on that.
Hey, absolutely. Absolutely. So anyone that would actually like to participate in the conversation tonight, we do have the Zoom information that is posted. Let's see if I can pin it to the top of the page. Yes, I can. So what I've done now is allowed for you to take a quick click opportunity on the, it is at the top of the actual Facebook page. So you will be able to just click on it. And then it'll bring you in if you want to actually get in on the conversation. No, you don't have to have your picture showing.
But I would like to see. I'm teasing.
Don't pay him no, never mind. But yeah, so that's that. If you're new, first time on the show,
hit the like buttons.
Let us know. Make your formal announcement.
Where? Thumbs up, not the like. Hit thumbs up.
Yeah, you know. Make sure you drop it down low. Welcome, old sippers. Welcome, new sippers. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We are thanking you now and every day that we come on live and we see y'all's faces. So as you'll see, again, we got 2 platforms going on for the sake of anyone that wanted to come actually onto the show and participate in the actual conversation that we're having tonight. But before we get into tonight's topic, last week we talked about happiness and what did it look like to you?
Oh, so while baby do her work, I slide in and partake in this part. So what I came up with as far as happiness is concerned is that we need to really break it down to its true essence, the base level of what truly makes you happy, right? Because there's a lot of things out there that are called influencers, and those are temporal things, right? So it makes you happy for the moment. Like if you go out there and you're having sex, in that brief moment, you're feeling nice, you're happy because you done bust that nut.
Say that word again.
Huh?
What is it? Go ahead now.
Oh, okay.
Hi, guys.
Okay. And you just, for that brief moment, your whole world is figured out. Everything is great. You in Nirvana. If you're the one that nutted. You know how it go. Sometimes you do. Sometimes you don't. Shame on you. You should have the skills to be able to get off on your own. Enough said. And then you got like ice cream. Those are stimuli, stuff that you enjoy, and it brings you a simple joys and pleasure. But are they the base levels of what makes you happy and happiness for you? You know what I'm saying? Can you sit down in a room by yourself and be happy? Now, does it take other people or other things around you to make you happy? And those are the things that you need to figure out for yourself. Break off the layers and understand yourself, because at the end of the day, you can't be looking for love or happiness through everybody else. If you can't get it yourself, there goes a major issue for you. What do you got, Kimberly?
What does happiness look like to you?
I guess especially in this day and age with the pandemic and all of these things going on, it doesn't take a whole lot for me to be in a good space, but I definitely seek. It's the simplest of things. Just interacting with or being choice about who the people that I interact with. I tend to try to stay away from situations that I foresee that could disturb my peace. So just peaceful environment, and I found being around family has been a big thing for me. You know, being that it's been a year since I moved to Georgia, and I didn't realize that separation from, you know, my family in Alabama, especially my son, would affect me like it did. So, you know, being able to get home as often as I can, and being able to find peace in the day-to-day things that I do, even where I work at, you know, I have to have peace in at home. I have to find peace where I work. I have to find peace in the simplest of areas because sometimes being those places where we are most of the time, if you're not happy in those places, it just combines and piles up and piles up and piles up until, you know, you just completely, you know, either have an anxiety attack or just whatever based off of continuously putting yourself in uncomfortable positions or unpeaceful positions. So that's just kind of what I'm striving for because, you know, I didn't realize that me working somewhere that you know, I wasn't at peace
right.
for so long of a period of time would have a negative effect on me. So that's kind of been one of my triggers is just, or I'm in the middle of now trying to find another place to work at because I've realized how much of an impact that has had on me.
Yeah, and it will. And it, you know, and so like, especially when at a certain age, well, I don't want to say at a certain age, but when you get to a certain point in your life, happiness, you don't look at happiness, you don't, I guess, place your value of happiness shifts. Because what made me happy before isn't exactly the same thing that makes me happy in my now. And like Buddha was saying, having a baseline of what is my triggers helped me not allow influencers to the people say, go be great.
You know, I guess one person said instant gratification. I'm assuming they were speaking about sex and certain stimuli that allow, you know, instantaneous pleasure and happiness. That's one. One person always said sugar and coffee makes them happy. Meeting great people like y'all, random intelligent conversation is my happy. My pappy would always say, when you sit alone
on a long,
it becomes a log.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I can see that, you know. It is what it is at the end of the day, you know. And it's funny you say coffee because, man.
This one here.
I really enjoy my coffee, you know, like first thing in the morning, and it's a thing. So it's not, you know, it's the mood that it puts me in. I mean, I could go without it, yeah, but I like the way I go into a happy place mentally when I am with my coffee, and I enjoy it even more when it's the weekend and I can sit out on the patio. I can just, you know, just listen to the birds chirping or whatever, and just
be one with nature.
It's me and that cup of coffee that's giving me that peace that I want in that moment. And you know, so I'm here for all of that. And I'm that's all me. That's all me. That's what I like, and I know I like it. Can I go without it? Absolutely. But I want it.
You want what?
The coffee. First thing in the morning, that's all I want. That cup, and then the rest of the day, I'm gonna be great without it because I do start my day without the coffee, but I really want that coffee.
He's not gonna be great.
I am gonna be great.
Hell no. You talk about a person who's been through the non-coffee syndrome. Everything has gotten intensified, right? Everything has gotten intensified. Hey, why you wearing that shirt? That color don't fit right. It always goes down to something. Something always goes. But then when she get that coffee, it's kind of like that sneakers commercial.
The
You know what I'm
Snickers
saying?
commercial.
Be a brown sugar, blah, 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 and then they eat the sneaker, they turn back to their real self. That's what it be. So I'm not gonna sit here and let her tell you that lie. I am not gonna sit here and let her tell. What did that shirt say? There, let me be great. Shit, if you want her to be great, you better put some coffee in that goddamn cup.
I will say that I have flipped out about my coffee.
Shit, she flipped out about the creamer.
I haven't. I almost killed somebody because of my creamer.
Oh yeah.
But that's another story. We'll talk about that another time. But I mean, whatever. Again, my baseline is peace, sanity, and the happiness. That's those things: peace, sanity, and I always forget my third one. But there's three things that I need to be in alignment: peace, patience, sanity. But I know it's not patience. But those are the things for me to be happy. And so that coffee aligns with the three things that makes me happy. And that's my story.
Oh, okay.
So, hey everybody that's tuning in. Thank you for chiming in. Our new Zoom person. I know who it is, but I'm not gonna say your name because nobody told me to say y'all. Y'all didn't say to say your name, so I'll try not to address your name. So if you want me to say your name, then let me know, and I'm okay with that.
All right.
Because I do believe in respecting people's privacy. Okay. But as far as everybody that's on the actual page, if you are interested in tuning in and participating live, the link to the Zoom has been pinned to the top of the actual Facebook page. You just simply need to click on it. If you don't have Zoom on your phone, you will be able to log in. I believe you can go in by the link. Right. There is a password. Make sure you put it in all lowercase, okay? And then we'll be able to admit you onto the show. It is live. We live.
So don't be scared.
Okay, and you don't have to have your face showing. You can do as you do.
Absolutely, Pinky.
All right. Espresso is my thing. Bad people will bring bad things. Absolutely. What's up, Kai? Appreciate you tuning in, girl. Pinky man, absolutely. It's cool we met in Publix. Yeah. That's my girl. And you know how that was. You know what I mean? That was one of those crossings that was just
meant to be.
Right. Divine intervention for us to meet. Meeting great people, like you say, like y'all, random intelligent conversations. That's exactly how we came about. You know what I mean? So I'm here for it.
So what we talking about today, baby?
What we talking
Take the gloves off. Let's take the gloves off. What we talking about today?
So moving right on along. We talking about sexuality, baby. Not just sex. All right.
Because the first thing that came to my mind, I need a freak. She got me.
But see, it's funny because as adults, when we start engaging in sex, we don't really look at the whys, we don't really, because we just start doing it. Right? That's doing it. So, but you don't really become knowledgeable and educated on the act and the why, and things along those lines. And so when you start, having sex. You're doing it. There's a lot of facets that come into play. It's like your why,
Because it feels good.
You don't know if it was good until you do it, but then when you do it,
Or,
there's that.
I'm gonna throw this out there for some people. They got a hole in their soul, or emptiness in them, and for that temporary moment, it feels it. That's why they're allowed to have sex with you, and somebody else, and somebody else, and somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
They may have an addiction. Just saying.
So to keep some perspective on sexuality, the topic tonight, we're going to dive into a few components. I posted them earlier, so that you can kind of get an idea of the overall. And it's going to be a two-part. It'll be this week, we'll talk about part of it, and then we'll expand on next week, where we'll get into some meat tonight over this, we're going to boom it. Boom. It's not sex. We're just going to boom, go into it. And then next week we may, it'll be expanded, which will be our season finale. So it might get a little ratchet. Okay. I'm just saying, so we got to go out with a bang. But let's talk about what is sexuality. Well, sexuality, it includes the physical, ethical, psychological, and emotional dimensions. And so now when we're breaking it down, we're going to go into values, relationships, communication, socialization, body image / self-image, experiences, personality, gender identity, gender expressions, sexual orientation, and then of course sex itself, because you can't have sexuality without sex.
Well, that is the root word.
So that's just what you'll hear a little bit, between this week and next week, just for those that would like to engage
or be a part of,
or come on, right? So anybody that come in, if they say, what y'all talking about, if they didn't read the header,
shame.
I think I posted, but if they didn't, just let them know we talk about sexuality, baby. You ain't gotta say baby, but just say. All right. So value system. A lot of people, how do you look at the values, when you're determining your sexuality? Well, I would say, and then you jump in.
Okay.
Obviously your upbringing, what kind of religious background you're coming from, if there is a religious background, what type of exposure, that's a baseline for how you are going to gauge how you individually value your sexuality and where you placing your sexuality.
Well, I'm gonna just slide in a little. I like how you did that, babe. That was great.
Yeah, I'm just.
Well, see,
I gotta open the door for you.
That's what it is. Yeah, the value system is real simple. Well, it's major for me. So I'm gonna get explicit a little bit. So bear with me. But I'm gonna use good words, not bad words. All right. So if you are a person who do not like to give head, and I like to receive head.
That's not the value.
Hold on. Let me get there. Let me play this role.
Go ahead.
If I like to receive head and you don't like to give head, my value system of you just went way down for reasons like this. Because if you're not willing to satisfy me on that level, giving me what I like, what does that say about you or us? That you're not there, you're selfish, and we don't want selfish people in our circle relationship-wise, do we not? Because then you start feeling like we are the takers and we are the doers, right? So yeah, I use the more graphic way of looking at it, but there's a value system up there. If you see somebody that you meet on the street, Yo, they're cute, but they're not wifey material or husband material. You may not go all the way, right? There's a value there. You're not going to get too attached.
That's an area, okay? Let's just be clear, that is an area.
I get it, but it's a value system nonetheless.
Within your sexuality. I just said it includes physical, ethical, psychological, and emotional dimensions.
So since
now,
you want me to,
one of the components is sex. So now you're talking about
I'm placing the value on sexuality.
Sex.
I'm playing.
Because when you're talking about
the root word,
right? Say that. Don't talk about the sexuality.
Right. No problem. Then I'm gonna go. Okay, since she wants me to go to the next level of that, I will go to the next level of that. A lot of people use sex as a tool of measurement of love, right? Boom, right? They start to give their bodies to somebody, sexuality or whatever, right? And now I love you, and you're mine. You cannot see nobody else. It's just you. You know what I'm saying? Sense of ownership. That's a value, right? Value, right? Yeah, hey, baby. I don't know. Gil, what you got for me?
Well, I'm laughing at you two, and then I'm laughing at Quan sitting next to him, just smiling. But I mean, I hear you. But I guess I could feel that I hear exactly what you said, Buddha, but I guess on that level, I guess I do agree. If it's a situation where if you're wanting to be pleased in a certain way and someone is not willing to give you that, then you can look at that as being selfish. But then maybe you can have a conversation about it and come to a common ground. I guess my question to you is, would you, if you were put in that same exact position, I mean, what do you feel about being put in that position where it's something that as far as sex is concerned, how would you feel if it's something that you were not too crazy about doing? Would you go that extra mile even though you wasn't really feeling it? Or would you consider yourself selfish if you felt like that's something you just really didn't want to do?
Oh, well, I can handle that question. This may be graphic, but believe me. Listen, okay. Once I get to the level of I love you, right? And we're having this question and you're telling me I need this. And I say, I'm not going to do this. This is not what I'm going to do. I am going to compromise with you. Go out and find somebody that's going to do those things.
Oh, my God. Oh, my goodness.
It's just the temporal thing. Right? We just talked about happiness, right? It's a temporal
Do you hear this, Quan?
Huh?
Do you hear? I said, do you hear what they talk about over there? He said he's going to go out and find somebody.
All right, so let's start again. Sexuality.
It's okay, man.
The capacity for sexual feelings, a person's sexual orientation or preference.
I just threw it at one part. Sex.
Sexual activity.
Hey.
So those are things stemming around the word definition of sexuality. So let's bring that back to where it's supposed to be.
I had to go in there and swing it.
All right. Now, granted, one of the components, as I talked about, that I mentioned in the bullets, was about communication. So absolutely.
That's the first thing I say.
When you, coupling everything, obviously it'll be something stemming around sex. However, when you're communicating about your sexuality, do you feel it's important to tell the person immediately about your sexual preferences? Or do you all feel that you should get to know them a little bit better to see if you are even in alignment with them to expose that area about your life?
Oh, I like that.
I think it depends on the type of person that you're dealing with. Sometimes you can discuss that stuff immediately, depending on the person, and then sometimes with other people you might put that conversation back on the back burner. But definitely, if it's something that sex is one of the sometimes one of the first things that you do. So you got some serious hang-ups about stuff that are adamant and you prefer not to do. I think you should definitely have that conversation up front and then allow the other person to be able to make decisions on, how they want to proceed forward. It may not be a big deal to them, but then again, it may be. You need to find out.
Right. Let's say, for example, I'm piggybacking off Kimberly.
Just one moment. I wanted to get Miss Bryant's opinion about that.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, y'all. Hey.
What's going on?
Did you hear the question in its entirety?
Yes, I did. I got the whole question.
Very good.
For me, I am upfront. So I'm going to put it out on the table because I don't want to waste nobody's time. I don't want nobody wasting my time. So let's go ahead and have the conversation like, day one, day two. That's me though. But I'm like that with a lot of things. Like I want to talk about any kind of medication you on, medication I'm on. Are you dealing with any illnesses or, all that type of stuff. I get that stuff out, like I said, day one, day two, because I don't want to waste no time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm gonna piggyback on that. Great points. But here's a more like sexuality. So if they're bisexual, whatever their sexual preferences is a major thing. Some people are really nervous about revealing, especially if a man. If a man's bisexual, they're not gonna say, "Hey, I like men," up front. You know what I'm saying?
Nope.
As well as women. But that's something you might need to know up front.
Yeah.
Right.
Or same
Definitely.
thing with vice versa with a woman. So you can know, because I hear a lot of women say they don't want to deal with bisexual men, right? Because they don't want they don't want to think, which is really, I don't understand. But
I mean, what is there to understand if you have a preference?
Right.
And a person would prefer not to deal with a man. Some people a lot of women do, but there's a lot of women that they prefer not to engage with a man that engage with another man. And it's nothing wrong with it,
But I just threw that out there because it's something that needs to be talked about, I guess. And not necessarily have to be a bisexual man situation. It could be bisexual people, transgender. They might like to cross dress. Like they might be heterosexual, but they might like the sensation of dressing like a woman, right?
Yeah, but they should be upfront with stuff.
That's rare.
But it's there. You know what I'm saying?
It's there, but you should be upfront about it. Don't hide it or wait till someone get all caught up. And then now they like having feelings for you, and then they gotta be, that's extra. No, tell me up front what's up. And especially at our age. At our age, I can see if they're in their 20s, maybe 30s, you go a little bit easy on that stuff. But by the time you hit 40, 50, man, you gotta let some of that stuff go and just like, this what it is. You with it or ain't.
Right.
What about like a porn addiction, right? So like you may not think it's a big issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you may not say, "Hey, sweetheart, I really have a porn addiction."
Right.
Because that's your own personal time. Because we all like to have our own personal time in the relationship.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, hey.
No, I get, and I'm okay, and I get that, and I understand. If whatever it is, especially in this day and age, because in this day and age, it's no longer a closeted thing about individuals' sexuality.
Right.
It is definitely a topic it has almost always for a long, long, long time, it's been there. It's just now, instead of it being closeted, more people are becoming empowered to speak up, that, you know, and live in their truth. And there's nothing wrong with it. So just kind of going into some other aspects of sexuality. We talked about the gender identity. You know, we talked about, you mentioned about being transgender. So when we get into that, let's, you know, look at what, you know, the gender identity aspect of it, which is your own internal personal sense of being a man or woman. So your own internal sense of being a man or woman, that's just the gender you are identifying as for you, not the gender that you obviously are. It's just what you are choosing to identify as. And that's a topic that we need to discuss, especially because we are dealing with so many young adults and people that have lived, like I said, they haven't been living their truth. And a lot of times you kind of got an idea that person is probably on the fence. And so, and only a very small crew may know the truth. But, you know, how do we communicate that to that person so that they can be open? But again, here's another caveat to that. No matter what your identity is, whatever you identify with, there's always going to be consequences. Well, I won't say always. You should be expecting consequences for those things, for that choice you're making. It's not saying you don't have the right to choose. It's just that we must understand that there are potential consequences and repercussions for those choices, even though we have free will to choose.
I would say, my only issue with, like, I would have with transgenders is if you're trying to fool me, right? Like you're being very deceitful about it. I got respect for all people and what they do and what they don't do, right? I have respect for that. But what I'm saying is, if I'm in the club and I see a nice woman and I can't tell that you was a man or you are a man, and you playing this up on me, and now I'm in a pickle because you made me feel something. You made me feel some way. Now, hey, you're laughing, but this is real. We talking real now.
Yeah.
If you would have came to me first and say, hey, you know what? You know, I'm a man on the inside, but I'm going to be a woman on the outside, and I decided to continue on, then it's on me. But don't let me get all the way to almost third base.
Buddha, they don't think,
wait a minute.
Buddha, they don't think they are men on the inside. They think they're women on the inside.
Because they have a gender identification as that opposite, whatever opposite sex they are.
When they use the bathroom, they look down and they see the balls.
I get it. I feel like there should be laws to protect straight men when it comes to situations like that. Like there's laws to protect, you know, transgender men, but there are transgender men that's out there trying to fool folks, trying to like, he liked it, and then he got upset or whatever. It's like, wait a minute, hold up, I didn't sign up for this, and they fooled me. Like there should be some type of protection for straight men.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a few bad apples that ruin it for the whole bunch.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And for me, I have more respect for a person who come out and let me know who they are up front, and I can deal with it as such if I choose to or not choose to, and we can be respectful about it. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to never get disrespectful. But once somebody step on that disrespect, guns off, baby.
Right.
Or
I understand that.
Homie, baby.
I feel you. So what do people say? I think it depends on circumstances. too old for that mess. Are there any studies about the neurological structure of gay people versus straight people?
I'm
Not sure, but I would be inclined to definitely look into that. What's up, Tamara? X and Y chromosomes, balance. There must be studies on this. Absolutely. And then the little jokey joke. I'm in a pickle because I found your pickle.
Yeah.
All right. So I just wanted to make sure I was.
Oh, it could be the same way for a female, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, you think you got a whole dog, and you in this thing, and you're like, damn, are they ever gonna nut?
Yeah.
And they just keep going and going because they got the little dildo thing on, and it's just right. You know what I'm saying?
So,
I'm saying, Kimberly, what you got for me?
what say?
Okay, so I'm guessing rolling back to everything that y'all have been talking about, with disclosing those things in it, up front. I was thinking that, for them, I feel like it would be safer for, someone that doing that to be upfront about it, because, they decided to put them in, and I'm not saying that for someone to be so upset that they would be violent, that would be something that was was right, but they potentially open themselves up to that situation where, a guy could be so angry that they've been deceived in that moment that, that could cause them physical harm. So, you got to be real out here in these streets and put stuff out there up front, because, there's definitely people out there that prefer that and don't have an issue with it.
Right.
And I feel like if you want those true connections, you have to be honest about what it is that you have going on, and you can't be out here lying in these streets. You got to say, hey, I got this going on, that going on, and allow other people to make decisions, based off of that. You might end up, messing up something with somebody, even if it's something that even if you're who they prefer and they feel like you deceived them, you might be missing out on something good if you're not honest. So.
Absolutely. I think it's really, I'm muting you real quick, for background purposes. I think it's important that, especially in this day and age, to have these conversations, first of all, with your children, have these conversations with, your close circle, because and of course, there's the reality. Right. Back to what I said, even though this is, you've obviously gone through whatever measures so that you can be your preference, okay, your gender preference. You still have to understand that everybody isn't accepting of it. We acknowledge it, but everybody isn't accepting of your preference, because that's your preference, right? As they mentioned, the Bryants mentioned, there should be some type of laws or some level of protection, because you can go through the surgeries and things like that, and to change over, but nothing has really, no parameters have been put in place that says you have to disclose it. That's like buying a house. When you buy a house and somebody died in their house, they don't have to tell you that. They don't have to disclose that.
But you shouldn't.
But I would want to know somebody got murdered in this house. Me. But,
you don't want no spirits in there banging on the.
But so I guess they're probably looking at it the same way. There's certain levels of privacy that has to be protected. So now, again, I would say if it was me, I would want to put myself in the safest position, because I don't want to die, because I didn't reveal this, and it could potentially become harmful, especially if I am pursuing someone that is, heterosexual.
Right. So let's go about it. I'm going to go this way, baby. The trustworthy aspect of it, right? So if you're a bisexual woman, for a man, if you're a bisexual woman, right, and you're already fighting an uphill battle because you think, especially if you're a bisexual, I mean, if you're a man who's jealous, you're already fighting an uphill battle because you're thinking every man wants your woman, right? So then you don't know she's bisexual, and she hanging out with a homegirl, and all this activity is going on under your nose. That can throw a monkey wrench in your plans, right? Because you're thinking over here she's being faithful, and she may not be.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely.
She may not be. So it's like, what do you do? Honesty is the best policy. All this is really surrounding communication.
Mm-hmm.
And you should be upfront about who you are and how to communicate.
All right.
Oh, okay.
All right. So that was just a little bit about the gender identity. So when they talk about sexual orientation, which is a person's enduring physical, romantic, and or emotional attraction to another person. Back to what Buddha was saying. For the sexual orientation, you can be heterosexual and be attracted to generally, let me break it down a little bit more on the different orientations.
Oh, okay.
Heterosexual, which we know that's attracted to the opposite sex. Bisexual, attracted to either sex. Homosexual, attracted to one's own sex. Okay. Pansexual, attracted to any gender identity. And then you have asexual. That's not sexually attracted to other people. Okay. So I just wanted to drop that out while I'm saying this. So with the sexual orientations, I'm going to mute you all that come in on the on Zoom, okay? So when we're talking about
just raise your
sexual
hand if you're ready to say
orientation,
something.
yes, when we're talking about sexual orientation, there's absolutely nothing wrong with what you like.
Right.
Society wants you to identify in a category if you like what you like. And so now we have a category of where you can place yourself. But if you don't like, if you know you have a preference, this is what you do, this is what you identify as, this, but your orientation, because you're attracted to the opposite sex or a gender, you don't identify, you're attracted to any gender, whatever your preference, you know what I mean? Again, we want to look at it from your perspective, not from what society say. So it goes into like these big debates I see a lot where a man says that, he prefers women, but occasionally he may engage. He likes to engage with another man. So most men, most people be like, you're gay. Right?
Well, I mean, it's usually black or white when it comes to me. You can be gay and like.
I mean, that's but at the same energy, a woman who prefers men, and it's not absolute, and she occasionally dilly-dally over into the same sex. Okay. They want her, society wants her to identify as being bisexual.
So my question to the panel and those who want to answer would be, why is it okay or accepted for women to be bisexual, more accepted for women to be bisexual as it is for a man to come out and say they're bisexual. What is your opinion on that?
Anybody want to chime in on that one? If you do, go ahead and unmute yourself. Or first raise your hand and I'll unmute you. You got that? You good? Go ahead, Kim. Go ahead.
I feel like that it's more so this masculinity type thing. I feel like that, a man consider themselves to be a man's man. So in order for them to, they still feel that like they have that trait, but I feel like that if they think that they come out or say that, hey, this is what I am, then, that's going to be taken away from them. Mm-hmm. I often feel like it's a double standard out there that it exists. And I don't even know, why it is. I think that because over the years, that's always been more accepted. It's just been something that's more accepted to society, and anything that's more accepted to society is going to be something that everyone's more comfortable with. It's the uncomfortable things that people are not comfortable with. And because if it's something that's not a popular thing, then, people are going to be more hesitant to say, hey, this is what I prefer versus what I don't, or this is who I am, because they're worried about all of this backlash that they're going to get, from that.
Yeah. And some of the comments are they're saying, you make a good point about the double standards, and because that's what it boils down to be, is the double standards. Why it's more accepting for women versus it being accepting for men. And you hit it. You pretty much hit a good point about the masculinity and why I think a lot of men, they're not trying to come off as, I mean, unless that's what they want, and they're okay with it, So it's not a right or wrong to it. It's just at the end of the day, it's a preference.
What do you got, baby? Because I'm gonna get into what I got. I'm sure a few.
I'm gonna let everybody else go.
Well, anybody else got
State your questions for our newcomers.
For my newcomers, I said, why is it more acceptable for bisexual women in today's society versus a bisexual man coming out about him being bisexual? Well, if nobody want to tackle it, I'll slide in. But if you want something, go ahead and hit it.
For our people that are on the panel, on the Zoom panel, I have you muted, obviously, for aesthetics. So if you raise your hand, I'll unmute you if you want to talk and comment on that. Okay, just because we're bouncing between the panel and I'm reading comments from the actual page directly. Okay.
All right.
All right. So you want to say something, Miss Harris?
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead.
I think it's because most women don't look at feminine or men being feminine as a positive. Mm-hmm. So if they're bisexual, that means that they have feminine tendencies. So with that being said, I think that's part of what causes an issue. And then there's always the stigma of it's I think it's femininity versus masculinity. Women want masculine men, and if they're bisexual, they don't see them as being masculine. That is my opinion.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. It took the words out of my mouth.
Well, I mean, I look at it as if, when a bisexual woman, basically, get to have the best of both worlds. I guess it really all depends on what you really want, what you like. I don't know. It's hard to really explain it, but I know that if your preference is men and you just want to say hey to the ladies, that's one thing. But if you have no general preference, you just like men and women, then you may be more accepting to engage with a bisexual man.
I think it's going back to what Monique was saying. It's a compromising position, right? You know,
Kimberly, I'm sorry, she had something to say.
Oh, go ahead. My bad.
Go ahead, you can unmute yourself.
I was going back to what the young lady was talking about before. I was just sitting here thinking, like, I feel like, especially speaking from a female's perspective, like, what is the deal with, and, I even feel, and this is just from how I feel personally, like, if I knew that, hey, a guy that's bisexual, he deals with men and women, or a guy that just basically dealt with guys, I feel like there are a lot of women that are comfortable with men in those spaces being, oh, this is a guy I can kick it with, hang with. We love having the guy friends that are either bisexual or, or they're just completely gay because they're fun to be around. But then you think about having them on the other end as being somebody that, a mate or somebody that you wanted to be with, then you looking like, I don't know if I want them in that space now. I like them over here to have fun with, but we ain't trying to, almost not have no relationship with these same dudes.
Right.
And, I really don't even, can't even give any insight on why I feel like that. It's not good, but, I'm really thinking twice about a dude that, dates men and women both. I don't know if I would be okay with, engaging with a man like that. I personally have not been in a situation where I've had to consider that, but it would definitely give me pause. So, it's a real thing.
So going back to the points that I'm making, and I said something earlier. So going back to Monique's point, it's great. So if men are considered, head of the household man is considered the head of the household, and now you put him in a compromising position where he's losing that masculinity, it's kind of like losing respect. You know what I'm saying? So I get what she's saying, but here's the kicker, right? We are creatures who like to control our own emotions, right? And we are selfish for the most part about the things that we love.
Mm-hmm.
So a safe space for a woman is a man hanging out with his homies. She don't really consider them, they may talk about other things, but she ain't considering that they actually fucking. Now you done took that veil off for another potential scenario where they could be cheating on you with somebody other than a female.
You done anteed up the stakes.
You done anteed up the stakes.
Go ahead and unmute yourself, Miss Collins.
Hey family, how y'all doing?
What's good?
I can't call it. So this is unique. I'm kind of conflicted. I get what everyone is saying, but I did hear the young lady that said she's never been in a situation or a relationship where the man was bisexual. My husband was actually bisexual. So so how I found out about it was happenstance. He and I were dating. We were actually engaged and we were living in Georgia, and this guy walks by and he keeps looking at my husband. He was like, he looks so familiar. And I said, dude, this is the wrong tree. Like, don't get whipped. You know what I mean? Y'all know how I talk. So he says, no, look. So he pulls out his phone and he shows me his Facebook and biggest day, his Instagram, biggest day. It said bisexual. So I'm looking at my dude and I said, is this something you want to tell me? And he was like, I didn't know how you would take it. So we had a conversation.
Okay. So this is an experience. This is one of the components about the experience. How do you take that?
Well, that's the thing. It was a conversation. Trust me, it was an in-depth conversation for at least a month or two because I needed to know, and I needed to know his practices, and I needed to know what brought it about, all those things. Because I'm like you, Buddha, like I am one of 8. I'm the only female, right? And it's all brothers. I have a very masculine, patriarchal Spanish, old school Spanish dad, right? grew up around my great granddaddies, very quiet, very resilient, all military men. That's all I knew. And here go this guy I'm married to. Y'all seen him, 6'5", 6'6", brolic guy. He ain't no little dude. He walks in, he commands a presence. But he also likes men and women. So it was an interesting ride in that I met the man that actually introduced him to the lifestyle, and I had a different respect for him. Now you're right with the masculinity and who were the pants in a relationship. As time went on, I did see a change. It was where I was running things, and that's not what I'm used to. I believe in divine order. I want my man to be in charge. You know what I mean? That's what I know. That's what I'm used to. But over time, it was just like, damn. And so those things, they used to come up. He always hung around women. When he did hang around men, that would be in the back of my mind. So it was just like, I don't know. I don't know if I just kind of dealt with it because we did get together, or I was ashamed of it. At the end of the day, I loved him. And I was, like I said, I respect him for him even telling me, because I had relationships or I had friends that had gone through the same thing and they knew nothing. I think to me, that's more detrimental than me coming in with my eyes open.
So my question to you, Ms. Collins, is would that have changed your perspective if he would have said that to you in the beginning?
Yes,
it would have. Or was that the beginning? I don't know.
Well, no, because we were already engaged and we had been living together like 2 or 3 years. You understand what I'm saying? So it was like time is vested. My kids is calling him dad. He was well integrated and interwoven in my family. But the crazy part of it is we were like hip to hip for 3 years. You know what I mean? Never even seen it. Ain't seen no twitch. Ain't seen no difference. Ain't even had no dudes numbers. And so it like threw me for a loop because everything I did, he did. And then for me to be in a whole nother state and this big booty dude walked by, I was like, I know your dude. I'm like, wait, what? Wait. My eyes came open, y'all. It was just like, what do you do?
All right. So back to it. So like, would it have changed your perspective on how to deal with him if he would have came out the gate saying, hey, Ms. Collins, you know, hey, I'm bisexual.
Yeah.
From the jump.
Very much so. Would you have
fought with him?
No.
Or would you have passed him on by?
I would have passed him on by. I mean, it would have been a good sexual experience, if nothing else, but not a lifelong partner. I don't think it would have, because even down to arguments, even down to things that he should have stood up and been a man about. And I'm not saying it's because of sexuality. So whoever's listening, please don't think that's what it is. But I think that he had become softer over time. And where when I look at the gentleman that I had my kids with, 20 some years later, he's still this tall, brolic, you know what I'm saying, machismo, territorial, got another wife, but still claims me as his. You know what I mean? That's what I'm used to. So life experiences have taught me, I guess it's your preference, I guess, or what you are willing to go through and deal with. And that's what I did. I don't regret it. I don't regret any moment of it, but it was just shocking. Yeah, I love him. Like the core of me loves him. I mean, he helped me raise 2 phenomenal kids. Even with my foster kids, he was there. Like, you can't erase 15 years of time. You got what I'm saying? So I will say being with him and having that experience is why my counseling practice is going to be geared toward LGBTQIA, but teens, because I feel like when they're teens, that's something that they need to have an option of really understanding. And it's teen boys, because I think they deal with it the most. You know what I mean? It's hard. It's really hard.
Right.
Okay, so before I get to you, Kimberly, one of the viewers says, but it's plenty of men now that's bisexual, but won't even speak on it. They just creep in the shadows. That's what I was going to ask her. What if never told you? What if you found out on your own? So you
look at the society we live in. Well, look at the society we live in. Even though there are gay rights, there are still not gay rights. I need people to understand that the gay and lesbian liberation is not long term. You got what I'm saying? I'm talking about just not that long ago within our lifetime, military men that came out as gay or was thought of as gay was being killed on the spot. You understand what I'm saying? So I can see the fear, because even though society says, oh, we tolerate it, it's not fully accepted. It's not.
That's what I was saying. It's acknowledged because it's out there. It's not closeted, but it's still not, everyone accepted. Is still not at a level of acceptance.
No, especially not men, because I still hear men, I won't say in their ignorance, but I think it's just I think everyone when we're born, we're a clean slate, right? We're a blank slate. I'm raising a grandson. He's 6 months. And my daughter asked me this the other day. She said, if he ended up Gabe, do I love him any less? I said, no, you were a lesbian. Did we love you any less? And she just shut her mouth and walked away. You know what I'm saying? Like, what makes it any different? And she's like, because he's a boy.
But
so
see,
imagine
that's
how that made me feel. I'm like, because he's a boy. Why is it any different? He has his choice. But she didn't resonate with her like that.
Right. But it's like, that's on a family-based love level, right? You know what I'm saying? We're gonna love you. But
Right.
when you're out there in this dog eat dog world,
it's different.
Trying to make a living.
It's different.
That makes a big difference. Kimberly, right?
Thank you.
Yes.
Let me
I
know
was just wanting to say that I felt her response on that part where she said she didn't know, what she was getting into until, after it came out. And at this point, you're engaged to being married, you're already in love with this person. And that could definitely be a situation that anybody could fall into. And being that it would be a situation where someone that wasn't exposed to that, when you fall into those situations to where, you're having to make a decision and you're already knee deep in a situation and there's feelings involved, then you have to make a decision going there. I mean, and a prime example of that, I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with with sexuality, but say as far as me, when I was married, and I met my ex-husband when we were younger, and I got into a relationship with him and was in love with him, I realized that, he sold drugs. So that wasn't how I was raised. That was nothing that I felt like that I would ever, want to be involved in or be around or have my kids around. But, after I already met this guy and was already in love with him at that point, and when I found out this is something that he was doing, we had a conversation about it. But, I wasn't going to let this man go because, now, we got kids, we have a family, we got a whole life. And, it was just something where I made a decision to, continue in a relationship with him, even though he was doing those things. So, not to say it's the exact same thing, but, some of those characteristics are the same. The good thing about it is that, it ended up being a good situation for her because, they raised they have a family and they do love each other. So, I felt like, that was a good thing.
I mean, but I like what you said, Kimberly, and it leads me to my next segment because I heard Baby talk about socialization, correct?
Right, and it's referred as sexualization.
Sexualization.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask this question to the panel, and then for those who want to weigh in on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why is it for women and men, but more women than I've seen than men, because I'm from the man point of view, when they see a celebrity or man with power, right? Why does that gets a woman go? Like they get turned on or they throw themselves at men in those positions. Why is that? It may not be you per se,
right,
but there's a lot of women out there who, oh, he look like he got some money. Oh, he's famous. Oh, whatever it is, he got that, he got that nice car.
right.
Why do they throw themselves at that
It's the attraction to the masculinity, the possibilities, it fit that image that we kind of threw out there in our minds, when we were growing up watching, TV and, and maybe when, if you had a strong father and your figure around you or whomever you visualize as, when I grow up, I'm gonna have me a husband, or I want this man and look like that. Or when you're small and you're looking at the mailman and he got money, you just get the wrong. So it just sticks with you. Then obviously you get older and you start looking at TV. It's a societal thing.
So it comes back to, I'm just saying, come back to your own personal happiness. So maybe financial, money, power.
We need the money though.
But my point is, like, this person may not have none of the things you need personally to build you up emotionally.
Probably.
But you done, spent the moment and wasted some time.
But see, with sexualization, let me give you the definition. That's what I'm doing.
That's what you do.
That's what I do. Well, let me give it, bring that home a little bit. Sexualization, it's the aspect of sexuality in which people behave sexually to influence, manipulate, or control other people.
Oh, okay.
So some of the bullets of that would be like flirting, okay? But when you get into the sexualization, which that's how a lot of what we have now, you got sexual harassment, you have rape, incest, and seduction. All of that falls into the category of sexualization.
So why does for example, so I've seen a lot of dudes who did this, right? They'll buy this $100,000 car, right? For living in a hotel. And they ride up to wherever they're going in that car. That woman opens up.
Back to what I said, the aspect of sexuality in which people behave sexually to influence, manipulate, or control others. So they are using the car as their tool to seduce.
No doubt.
To manipulate, to get that which what they desire.
When it comes back to that community.
Because they have their shortcomings. They don't have their shit together, ultimately.
Or in the case of Miss Kimberly talking, they didn't have a regular 9 to 5, right?
Right.
They have a regular 9 to 5, but they.
Well, I'm assuming they did.
Oh,
they had to have something.
They
just
sold.
Yeah. Yeah. He did have a 9 to 5.
Sidebar hustle they had going on.
Right.
So
exactly.
That's what I'm taking.
Okay.
You're right. That's what it was.
Oh, they had a 9 to 5, and then they were doing that on the side, but the side job was making them more money.
Right. Exactly. That's what that was.
He was like,
and his thing was,
when you get caught up, you're not, when you get in, we in love now, we in this, you're not thinking where they getting this extra money from because they got a job.
So, but I like what Mr. Bernard Herm said. Are they wrong? So are they wrong for the? I'm gonna answer that question.
Are they wrong for manipulating?
Technically, if you're lying,
if
you're lying, if you're lying,
say it.
No, I can't say it. No, you're not wrong. Do you?
Look, I agree. Are they wrong? Anybody that do what they do, if you like it, hey, be great. All right. But at the same time, as I mentioned earlier, with regards to you, whatever your orientation, whatever gender you identify with, any of those things, no matter what it is, in the grand scheme of things, there's always consequences and repercussions as a result of said actions.
Right.
So, with that being said, if you go in, that you go out there and you are buying the clothes and the cars, and you know what I'm saying, making it rain, but you don't have a pot to piss in or one to throw it out, it's not necessarily it's the woman or the man's fault. It's not they're not necessarily wrong because their motive is to manipulate to get what they want. Okay. If you didn't have a sense of discernment to differentiate and you got caught up in the materialistic things, then Shame on you.
Hold on now. Hold on. So
I was actually agreeing with you, G Willikers.
I'm with you. I'm agreeing with you too. But how do you have the sense of discernment on money that's coming in?
Because you should not, back to last week, you should not be basing your happiness on what somebody do or don't do.
But it's hard to not base your happiness on status quo.
I'm saying your baseline should not be, your premises should not be based on materialistic things.
But if it does happen to be,
and if it is, then
okay,
repercussions and consequences as a direct result said baseline.
What's going on, Clinton? What's going on, Boss Lady
Big Boss Lady Whip.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for tuning in, Teddy Jam.
Okay.
Don.
What's popping, yo?
What's going on?
All right.
You want to weigh in on that, bro? Or are you good?
So do you think that do you feel that an individual that decides to manipulate, influence, or control others by obtaining materialistic, intangible things to get what they want in their means of seducing and flirting, do you feel that that person is wrong for what their motive is?
I want to make sure I understand the question. Are you asking me?
Do you think
as a guy,
that manipulates and flirts a woman, man or woman?
Well, right. I'm just want to make sure I understand. Are you asking me that as a guy, if I have a bunch of shit, right? I have the nice whip, the nice house. I'm peacocking, right? Peacocking, right? Right? Is that a form of manipulation? Is that your question?
Are you wrong? Would you think that that person is wrong for doing you, being great?
I think that you have to give the fish what they want. Woo. And so if I'm trying to catch a particular type of fish, I have to use a particular type of bait.
Well.
Right?
Okay then.
Now, is that manipulation? I don't know that that's manipulation. I think that's part of the game. Because when you recognize that the game, I don't know if it's manipulation, because here's the reality, right? And this is all about perspective. Right? If you get me, Carl, and a bunch of other guys, we're gonna all have a similar experience, right? Our experience is that since women were old enough to grow titties, men have been attracted to them. And women, in turn, when we got to high school, was fucking with older niggas, right? Because the older niggas had the peacock shit, right? So my question, and I'll let you guys get back to it, but my question is, does money equal masculinity? Right?
It equals power, though.
It definitely equals power. So I really think women are not really after what's masculine. I really think they're after power, right? Because power dictates the world. It dictates everything around us. It dictates security. It dictates security. It dictates protection. It dictates what a man is willing to do. And this is why a lot of them love D-boys, dope dealers, right? Because of power, right? I don't think there's anything inherently masculine about selling dope. I've sold dope. I don't think anything is masculine about it. But the power that comes with it, the power that I can buy what I want. Same thing as with any corporate executive. I can buy what I want. And there is an inherent, I think, for women, attraction to that. So with that being said, baby, the thing is, I don't know that it's manipulation if I'm driving a Lexus and I'm going to, let me rephrase that. A Lexus ain't nothing. If I'm driving a Phantom, right? And I'm going to where only a certain caliber of women can go, because only a certain caliber of women can go there. I think we're both playing our part. My dad used to say, where there's fair exchange, there is no robbery. So if I have a Phantom and I want to go and get this supermodel, I know what the bait is, right? I don't know necessarily if that's manipulation, because I think that we're both playing on the even playing field.
No, I get it, and I get it, and I whole totally respect what your logic. But either on both spectrums, woman and man, it still is a form of manipulation.
Well, if that's the
Everybody is
case,
doing
baby,
what one
the way
needs
you
to
do your
to get what
makeup
they
is
need to do.
manipulation.
Huh?
If that's the case, the way you do your hair and your makeup is manipulation, because I'm sure Carl loves looking at it.
Exactly.
Right?
The
way
baby.
what you dress in is manipulation. When you put on those tight jeans he loves, that's manipulation. And of course, I dropped out.
I can hear you.
I can't see anything.
I can see and hear you.
I'm sorry, guys. It dropped out. My bad. I'm back now.
Extra. Now, when I go to work, that's a different. I'm in a different mind frame when I go to work. So I'm getting dressed because I'm going to be pleasant. However, when I'm going to go to the after 5 spot,
you want them to see
I'm
you.
a little bit after 5-ish. Age appropriate after 5.
I don't know what's wrong with my camera.
With a man. But when I didn't have a man and it was after 5,
you trying to catch the right fish?
I was just trying to be appealing to the fishes because I went to the place.
To the fishermen.
To the fishermen.
Right. You were trying to give them the bait they want. You were trying to.
I was being the bait. I was. So but I was intentionally.
So what is the definition of manipulation? Then I think we need to know what that is.
It's an art. It's an art.
What's the definition of manipulation? I'm sure you have it right there.
I don't have that, but I will get that. No worries. Christy, drop me the definition of manipulation.
You're good at that.
But I mastered the art of it. And you're right. I mean, that's why I say there's technically is wrong when you're doing it intentionally, man or woman. However, if you master the art of it.
But it's too late when you're in the house and they take that wig off and they say, here I am. But you've been fucking them all this time.
I can't deal with you.
You're like, this take me as I am, but it's too late. I'm committed to this.
So the definition, just so we're all on the same page, the definition of manipulation is the skillful handling, controlling, or using something or someone. Why did it just drop out? I'm sorry. We should just drop out.
Even with what you just said.
I still hear you, boo.
Even with what you just said is sufficient to that. What I said is it is a form of manipulation.
It's controlling the narrative.
When you are intentionally controlling the narrative,
right.
Paraphrasing, controlling it, using
There's
something.
an attempt. There's an attempt to control the narrative.
Right. By doing something, whether it be dressing
the part,
driving the part, or what have you. Flexing the part. It's a noun. Okay, we got it.
Okay.
The action of manipulating something in a skillful manner, like you were saying. Someone in a clever or unscrupulous way. The action of manipulating someone in a clever or unscrupulous way.
That's right. Like I always used to say, man, when we get between them sheets and I throw that meat on you, it's a wrap.
Right. I don't want to go too far into the manipulation because
magic wand.
It's about, but it does go in hand with sexuality.
Mm-hmm.
So ultimately, and we'll expand more on next week. Mm-hmm. But when you're talking about sexuality, some see it as people being manipulative when they are not communicating and being forthright with their preferences or their true identity.
Well, that's lying by omission. That's lying.
I mean, it's not necessarily lying by omission per se. It's more that if you are identifying or you have, or your sexual orientation, those things like that, you are in your truth. However, if you are, even though you're in your truth, if you are not communicating, and again, I say being forthcoming to, especially when you are pursuing outside of your spectrum.
Come on, baby.
What I mean by pursuing outside of your spectrum is you are going and engaging in, pursuing people that are not having no idea. When you're doing that, now you're getting into this dangerous zone.
Lying is lying. I'm gonna say that. Lying is lying. Lying. Well, hold on.
Go ahead.
Because I seen a lot of motherfuckers get beat up, cut, left the straight because they left out a valuable piece of information. And a person felt that they were being deceived because they just
control how you feel.
Hold on. Because they left that tidbit of information out. Lying by omitting something is a form of lying.
How many times you died?
Millions of times. Because I omitted a lot of different things.
Intentionally.
But
lying by omission is a lie.
Go ahead.
Lying by omission is a lie. Just dig this, right? And I do not condone violence against anyone, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's effed up. There are these articles about the transgender community, mm-hmm. and the transgender women being, stabbed, killed, beat up, whatever, because they didn't disclose who they were. Now, first, I got two problems with that. I don't know how the hell you have sex with somebody and not know who they are. That's crazy as hell to me, right?
You gotta look.
Especially they got both things.
Even if they got the most says with the lights off. Listen, even with the lights off, you don't feel balls down there. Like, what the hell's going on? I don't want to digress.
You have your parts because some. I don't know the proper name, and I don't like to use things out of turn. What is the full name when the
Well, what is the full name when someone is post-op? After what is transsexual? Most of
transsexual. Got it. I mix them up.
All right. So, but here's the thing, right? I've heard the argument that that they don't, and forgive me because I don't mean to be disrespectful to anyone, right? Yeah. But I've heard the argument that they don't have to disclose, right? And they're right. They don't have to. However, that is a lie of fucking omission because you take a choice away from the person who you are dating or who you're seeing sexually. So that's a lie of omission. And I want to say this, you ladies have crafted a fine. Yo, you guys are great at lying by omission. Great at it. But I'm gonna leave that alone. Okay, but that's my point, baby. Like that, like those individuals, I feel as though there's a responsibility, whether they're transgender men or transgender women, they have a responsibility to their partner to inform them so that they don't take their choice away. So right there's a lie of omission.
Absolutely. I feel, going back to what you're saying, Clinton, I feel like my relationship would have never blossomed if I never told her I was community dick.
You know what?
I felt like,
or that you used to be a woman.
I felt like when I said, "Hey man,"
I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
I said, "Hey man, listen, I've been around the world more than once, hey man, and I'm still out there. But if you believe in me, I'll be loyal to you." She took that chance. I could have lied or could have omitted all that stuff. But our relationship was built on that.
Right. And one of the big things, and you said something extremely important, is taking a person's choice to choose away. Well, taking a person's option to choose away is, and it doesn't matter what your sexuality is, it doesn't matter what your orientation, it doesn't matter what you identify as. And that's why I said very clearly that no matter your orientation, your preference, your identity, there are consequences and repercussions, even though you may be in your truth. And that's because if you are not forthcoming with the information, or you delay it, or you go intentionally, deliberately go and pursue someone that may not, be accepting, there's these consequences. But to take away that person's option to say yes or no, that gets me every time. So in Buddha's position, I did it.
Hey, yo, we call the government there. I got you.
In Buddha's position, with him admitting to me his servitude to the community, he gave me a choice, but I had a rebuttal to that.
Right.
And so as long as we can respect and honor my rebuttal, we can work through some things, and so that was the premises for that.
That rebuttal sound private as hell, and like she got your ass for that.
It was clear and concise.
Listen, I can't have you out there slinging ding-a-ling while we together.
No, I said keep your hoes in check. Nobody should ever come for me.
That's right.
Or I will assume I sent for them.
That's right.
I cannot deal with you. This is just sidebar, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot deal with you if you can't keep your bitches in check. That was the conversation.
And ladies and gentlemen, as a man.
And if you want this, you're going to do the right thing.
And ladies and gentlemen, as a man, right? So,
Pimping 101.
As much as you want to do to control the situation, but you always know that women are X factors and they will do exactly what they feel they need to do in order to get their man, even if they're not their man.
And I was prepared to honor exactly what I said.
But
here we are.
To my defense,
today,
I stayed true to who I was as far as what I meant, what she meant to me.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I stayed
he
true.
said he wanted, because the key word is, what do you want to do? I don't want you if you don't want to be where you at. You want to be where you at. You got to want to be here, and you got to know that I would cheat on you too. Oh,
yes.
Very good. Those I actually said.
That's not no asexual type shit.
So now back to sexuality. That was me not lying by omission. That was me being straight up.
Don't ever let me come on the show. I'll derail y'all shit.
Straight up.
Hey, it is what it is. I had to look, hey, listen, true shit. I had to look at myself down here and I said, yo, listen, you better do work that you ain't never done before. Cause you gotta sew this shit up.
Anyway, all right, y'all. So we're gonna go ahead and we'll finish the rest next week. Where we're gonna dive a little bit more into where we're talking about more about the socialization, which again it's referred to as sexualization, because it's important to understand about the flirting and the sexual harassment when it goes too far. Obviously, we're talking about a little bit about incest, because that's all coupled into sexuality. the experiences, of course, the body image and the self-image gonna go hand in hand, where ultimately it's like a sexual self-esteem, why people are possibly choosing a certain sexual orientation. So we're gonna dive a little bit more into that, and relationships that, you know, the 2020 relationships. Okay. So I want to talk a little bit more about that on our season finale on next week. So if you're interested in participating in that conversation on next week, I will make sure that the Zoom is posted again. Come on in. But before we go, I just want to touch a little bit. I just want to catch up a little bit on some of the comments that were dropped. Take a person's choice away. We talked about that. The Meg, this a la Meg the Stallion. Oh boy, what particular information must be divulged at the beginning of a relationship? We'll go into that a little bit more on next week. That goes back into what we were previously talking about with the communication. It's not right working from half truths. Absolutely. You live the lie until the truth is expected. Interesting. All right. So that's what I just wanted to make sure we jumped on a couple of the comments from what the people say. All right. Also, one of the questions was from our Zoom panel. What if you're not lying but finessing?
Well, you know, for me, finessing was part of the game.
Part of the game.
But it's lying.
But it's lying. It's a lie.
Because if you
finessing ain't lying.
It's
lying.
Listen, if I tell you I got a Lamborghini, I didn't say it was drivable. I just said I had a Lamborghini. It could be a Hot Wheels. It could be a Matchbox.
You know what?
But I got a lot. I got a
Lamborghini.
Lamborghini.
That a little bit more on next week. All right.
Yeah,
because
but all I'm
anytime
saying
you
is,
try
you
to
had
get
a
him a thing
penis
that
when you
got
was
something
born, you had a
drivable.
penis. If you had a clitoris when you was born, you had a clitoris. I think that should be disclosed.
All right.
Hey.
Let's just
don't let him tell you about me.
Listen, adults.
Somebody been sipping a little bit of sipping juice.
New. Listen,
let me tell you.
Old
this is
and new.
Conversation.
A lie is a lie is a lie. If
I'm finessing and it ain't the truth, if I have a Lamborghini Hot Wheel back here on the matter of fact, I do got one on. If I have one, I say I got a Lamborghini, and you expect me to drive that motherfucker, and it's not there.
If you are deliberately, intentionally not revealing the truth,
saying like
omitting intentionally, deliberately,
so like
it is a lie.
For example, we all know you got a penis, but if you telling her you got 9 inches, but you only come to the party with 4, that's a
use a lie.
That's a finesse job.
It's a finesse job.
We coming with hopes and wishes and prayers.
Ladies and gentlemen, it was great having you on the show. Thank you all. I really do appreciate. We truly appreciate the panel coming in and participating because hey, that's how we do the show with the sippers, and we're giving you the option to have 2 ways. You can either participate on the Zoom or you can participate on just the page and drop your comments. So look, everybody that came on and participated tonight, absolutely, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we will be looking absolute forward to seeing you on next week, which is our week 12, season 7. It will be our finale, and then we'll be off for a few weeks and we'll come back. I'll drop that information later as far as when we'll come back on, but we usually take about a month, 3 weeks to a month off. So it'll probably most likely be at the start of December that we'll come on, and we'll be on for a couple of weeks, and then we'll take a Christmas break because everybody want to do their holiday thing, but it's coronavirus, so we're gonna work this thing out. All right.
Christmas is my time to finesse the family entirely.
Anyway, don't listen to them. All right. So next week, same time, same energy panel. Thank you all for your active participation. You are appreciated.
Hit the music, baby.
Let it go, Maestro. Let it go.
Bye.
Blow time, blow your mind. Let's see you and me. Thanks, Kimberly. Thanks, Boss Lady. Thanks, Monique. Thanks, Clinton.